The impact of cloud has developed enormously over the last few years, primarily because we've become much more familiar with technology, much better served with bandwidth and broadband and access over the internet to technology. And of course, by the supply side, as suppliers have become more familiar with how to provide services over the internet. Well, small businesses adopting cloud is an absolute perfect match. It reduces the requirement to have long, in-depth analysis of what functionality you can get from technology or application providers. It really helps you to take on board new functionality, new facilities very rapidly on a pay-per-use basis. So there's very few barriers to engagement. And often all of the technology is provided by the supply side, and really we can rest on our requirement to use the technology as opposed to understand how it works. Well, for innovation, so many companies, large and small, but small in particular, can rapidly innovate by using software as a service, having tools provided over the internet so that they can engage with them with new ideas and new propositions, and really only pay for what you use. So it's fast to engage, doesn't require a lot of technology knowledge. It allows you to try out ideas and be adaptive, and probably just as important, it allows you to shut those things down that aren't working and walk away without a capital expense, without a write-off off the balance sheet, and also no staff implications very often. Well, I suppose there's several ways we can be reassured about how we can use cloud, or whether we should use it, or whether it's reliable, or whether it's safe. Number one is every technology term we've had for the last 40 years has had exactly the same concerns. Is it reliable? Is it safe? Is it secure? We've overcome them because we've needed to. So cloud in exactly the same ways will increase its sophistication on how we have control, how we have security of access, and also sustainability in terms of access to the data we leave behind after we've engaged. Some organizations, some industries can't use cloud. For example, financial services, very often one of the provisions is that you actually have to know where your data is being stored. And quite frankly, often cloud suppliers will store it in Australia one week, New York the next, etc. So there are some real issues for some industries. But by and large, it's cultural, it's historic, it's tradition that often makes us feel that using cloud services is probably a lesser and a less controllable environment. And actually the truth is it's more controllable. Well, number one is, of course, we've got many ways these days of getting other people's opinions about what that relationship's been like. So getting online, finding out what folk are saying about them, testing them themselves, having usual procurement skills, i.e. what's the supplier done, what's their provenance, what's their history, what's their experience, testing out other client relationships, going to meet those people, or at least talking to them in some fashion or another to understand if they're living up to their promises. So the usual procurement skills are particularly important when you're taking on board functionality at distance, where you don't really necessarily have a personal relationship. So testing people out, using procurement, getting people's advice and guidance is vital. The IRD can help in terms of being able to provide a network of people who have already embraced an awful lot of the issues that anyone using cloud will be looking at now. So how do I protect my information, my data? What are the issues of security? Networking with folk who've already done it before is usually the fastest, quickest, most reliable way of really getting to the shortcuts of using these new tools.